Dr. Bawumia, who was elected, has been working on uniting his party. There's a view that it's going to be a difficult work for him. We saw a number of people come to him to sort of in a way of uniting the party, solidarity. I even saw Paul Afoko. Paul, as a student of political science, Dr. Bawumia appears to be getting the people around the table.
Oh, yes, he would. And as I've said, if you study a little bit of the political history of this country, the opposition parties uniting is not as difficult as ruling parties uniting. In opposition, people sort of see their eyes clearly, as they say in the local expression. The desire is simply to win power. And the desire to win power is usually takes over people's personal ambitions. It doesn't remove the personal ambition, or it doesn't remove personal scores, but it just suppresses it for a little bit until power is won, and then you see those expressions again. So Dr. Bawumia also has the kind of personality that aids this unity conversation. Even during the critical periods of 2023-2024, you would observe that in his campaign, he was able to unite to his campaign some people who did not like Akufo-Addo. I refer to the likes of Dr. Richard Anane of Ishaiso in Kumasi. For instance, he has been one of the principal opponents of Akufo-Addo in the NPP, but he was a big supporter of Mahamudu Bawumia. Some people who supported Kufuor and the Kufuor-Akufo-Addo factions of '98, you will see some of them who were in the Kufuor faction supporting Mahamudu Bawumia. So he seems to have that kind of personality. So the NPP is lucky to have a person at this time who is able to quickly reorganize that. So the visit by Paul Afoko I saw in Kojompini, I wasn't surprised. It is two reasons pulling them. First, Dr. Bawumia's personality. And secondly, the NPP is in opposition. So there's enough time to express their view. There's enough time to vent. And Dr. Bawumia seems to be indicating that he has the listening ear and the heart for one to come and vent to about whatever has happened in the NPP. Because whatever has happened in the NPP, Dr. Bawumia, at the end of this campaign, has also suffered some. And so he's no longer the person who people looked at as having been given an advantage in 2023, 2024. Now, having come from that advantageous position, now into the doldrums, fighting this campaign where he was a target of 5 presidential candidates, things were said, things were done, things were heard. So Dr. Bawumia has also experienced what some of the victims, those who call themselves victims in the NPP, have experienced. So it is aiding him to give a big heart and a big ear to all of these people. That's going to put him in a very unique position to be able to unite the party. The other reason why the NPP is eager about uniting is that they are beginning to see clearly from the data that the 2024 election was not lost on the basis of competition with the NDC. No, certainly not. It was lost on internal disunity and an inability, therefore, to bring their votes out. If you like, take the elections.
Really? The people who didn't come out to vote didn't come because of this? Was that disunity issue?
Yeah, the disunity factored in it. So if I'm MPP and I'm in Ashanti region and I don't like what is happening in Accra, I don't like the way some parliamentary candidate has been imposed on me, all of the I don't like things is what caused people to stay at home. Okay. Now, if you look at the results of the election and you realize that if the MPP had maintained their results of 2020 election, they actually would have beaten the NDC in spite of everything that happened. Then if you look at the circumstances of the election and you realize that there will be very few people, if not negligible, who in 2024 wanted John Dramani Mahama to win or did not want the NPP to win, who will stay at home. The verve, the emotion, and the motivation was for the opposition. So that if there were a stay-at-home candidate as a result of the data, we can safely conclude that a lot of the stay-at-home candidates were NPP voters. They were not NDC voters. If there were 2.2 million and they were NDC voters, and you take 1.9 million of that and add it to Mahamudu Bawumia's vote, see what happens to the election results. So the NPP are coming to the realization that this defeat was not about competition and was not about a weaker brand. It was about settling our own internal difficulties. That if we had settled our internal difficulties and gone to the election even the same way we went to 2020, we said that realization is making people see that, look, let us align with a new leader. He has a great heart. He has a great vision. and the NPP do not even have to beat the drums on competence. They don't have to. If you hear Dr. Bawumia assess the problems of the country and you hear his prescriptions, you clearly know that he's competent. This issue about he's a liar because he said exchange rate was going to be this and exchange rate is this over an 8-year period, which was useful propaganda that was applied. It's no longer available to be applied. We have all seen the intervening matters which may have occasioned this thing. Some may believe it, some may not believe it. But certainly, you cannot pick Dr. Bawumia and call him incompetent in Ghanaian political parlance. That is not going to happen in 2028. You can say it however you want to say in 2024. In 2028, it's going to be a different kettle of fish. We are beginning to see the issues that are happening in the government. We are beginning to see the issues at Cocoa Board. And a few issues are going to come, which will then put into proper context the whole performance of the NPP in 2023-2024. It's going to get into proper context. And when that context comes, Dr. Bawumia will stand tall.
I heard you before the election, you were concerned about Dr. Bawumia's percentage win, or the percentage he won by. It has reduced from what he did the last time, which means you have at least 40% of the delegates rejecting him. How does he get them to come around? The fact that their leaders are coming around, does it mean they automatically come around? The reasons they didn't vote for him, will they follow him now because, yeah, he's a guy who has been produced, Kennedy has rallied around all of them. Do you foresee that easily happening before 2028?
Well, that has happened before, so it can happen again, but it's not easy. It's not something that will easily happen. But because it has happened before, we can assume that it may happen again. Now, the competition of 2026 was quite different from 2024. Dr. Bawumia was 2023. Dr. Bawumia was opened up. He had stronger competition. The arrival of Brian Achampong was not part of the 2023 conversation, and Brian Achampong seems to have done quite well in mobilizing people. But if you look at the spread of Dr. Bawumia's votes, even at 57%, you realize that he's improving in some of the important areas. Politics, internal party politics is also very important with demographics. So if you are in an NPP contest, you are coming from an election where there had been stay-home voters, particularly in your strongholds in Eastern and Ashanti. You are engaging Eastern and Ashanti and seeing how Dr. Bawumia is performing there to determine whether he's able to now bring out the vote or not. If you look at the data in that way, you will be applauding Dr. Bawumia because you will see that he gained significant ground in the stronghold of the NPP, which is in Ashanti, which has always been the concern, that will Dr. Bawumia be able to rally the votes in the base of the NPP. In 2024, that didn't happen. And everybody is trying to see whether that can happen. As soon as that happens, he wins the election, that's for sure. As soon as Dr. Bawumia or an NPP candidate is able to rally around. In 2000's election, I was a reporter at the time, I was monitoring it. And I went to Dr. Kwame Amakoto's house, and he was not paying attention to the election. And I asked him why. He said, oh, but with 72% Ashanti, it's over. He's not interested in any more results. The results had not quite come. But he was in his house in Kumasi, and he said that, oh, it's done. Once he saw that Ashanti has voted 72% for Kufuor, it's over, it's a done deal. If Dr. Bawumia is able to rally that, he actually wins the election. No ifs or buts about it. So that's really the point of inquiry. If you look at that, you get some hope that it looks like he's spreading better in those areas.
Joe Jackson, Paul thinks Bawumia may not be the big issue in 20... No, that's Bawumia. I'm using it because that's what was... That was a tag.
Don't repeat it.
No, but he said the lies that Bawumia is a liar in 2024 will not be used in 2028.
But then the man has a name. No. His name is Dr. Bawumia.
I'm not saying the man is called Bawumia. I'm saying that was a tag that was put on him.
I thought you'd rather come to me.
And Paul Adom-Okyere is saying that...
He's a neutral one.
I'll come to him. I wanted... If
it will not stick.
If that will not stick, the economy though would stick, would it not? And how this government does in the economy.
I wanted to make a comment when Paul was speaking that as much as I can see where it's coming from and how the disunity at that time could have affected the NPP's fortunes, I think that will also not be giving enough significance to the hardship that Ghanaians faced in the run-up to the election, and how the effects of inflation that went haywire.
So it can't be disunity.
No, I mean, disunity will play a part, but I think the biggest factor would be the economic hardship. And it was on multiple levels. For the middle class, DDP devastated. For the ordinary man in the street, inflation was dire. What we also even forget was that in the northern part of the country, there was a famine. It was not widespread to the country. But in the northern part, definitely the rains failed, and there was significant. And when you look at inflation, you'd realize that the biggest problem was food price inflation, which meant that at the bottom, Ghanaians were suffering, and it was food. So when you look at that, I think some of the stay-at-home voters were, because they felt their pockets, their stomachs, their standard of living had dropped, and they couldn't, maybe they weren't willing enough to vote for an opposition party, but they would stay at home. Unity would have helped, but I don't think unity alone could have overcome you see, some of the statistics are there. 2022, January, 1 cedi, you're paid 6,000 cedis, you go out to town, you do $1,000 worth of shopping. 2024, December, you step out into town with 6,000 cedis, $350 worth of shopping.
It was big.
It was big. You see, and it's hard for you, for me. We have to address that, and it will be important for every party to address that issue.
So,
bottom line, if you don't look after the well-being of the Ghanaian, they will revolt.
So Dr. Bawumia is working on unity. Is there anything he needs to do about, and Paul made the point earlier that the public may be distrusting politicians when they say one thing and do another. The issue of what he said and what the economy ended up becoming under he and his boss's watch, does he have to start giving some reassurance to Ghanaians that, listen, on the economy, there were a few things we got wrong, but this time around we know what to do?
See, Dr. Bawumia is in a difficult position because whatever happens, he has to acknowledge the legacy of the regime for which he was vice president. And yet you see that there's a consistent effort to distance himself from the regime, and even to say, even though he was vice president, even though he was head of the economic management,
he was a mate.
He was a mate, and that the decision making was slightly different. The challenge for him is to get that perception out.
Let me come to Ni.
I've always maintained one thing. And I'm sure during up to the election, you heard me say the same thing when we were all appearing on this platform, that Dr. Bawumia has a credibility crisis. The credibility crisis and a trust issue, a trust deficit. In fact, a credibility deficit and a trust deficit.
Is it has or had?
No, has. You understand?
Even now?
Even now.
And will have.
You see, and it depends on how he wants to approach it. Now, you see, when you compare with President Mahama, for example, there's the need. The two are not the same, but the approach is for me what is critical. The difficulty, and it's not easy to say that I'm part of a team as vice president, but I don't want to criticize my boss, the president, but I must show that there's a distinction between my style, and it's always been difficult for any vice president to show a distinction between his style and his boss's style.
Atta Mills suffered that.
He suffered that, but Atta Mills had to evolve by showing that he was able to disagree with his boss but still respect his boss. And that was the transformation that made Ghanaians begin to look at. You remember the issue of Poodle, where he was the tag was that he was Rollins's Poodle, until he was able to show that I have the grit to be able to distance myself from what I deem to be the excesses of my former boss, and that I'm a man of my own and can stand on my own. Then Ghanaians began to see that no, this was somebody who could be differentiated from, because you remember his famous statement, I'll consult Rolling Stone. That was he was demonized for it. So he had to go through the painful exercise of being able to show that he was able to distance himself from. That is the problem of Dr. Bawumia. You were head of the economic management team. How do you go out there and tell Ghanaians that even though you were head of the economic management team, the decisions, economic decisions that hurt Ghanaians, you are not responsible for them? There is a lack of candor, the lack of the ability to take responsibility for the actions of your government and say that, look, there is nothing wrong in saying that, look, there were issues and problems with some of the policies that the NPP put out. I am responsible for them as head of the economic management team. I can assure you that I have learned from that position, and these are the changes and reforms I intend to bring. Okay. He wants to run away from the negatives of governance that was in the NPP and take credit for the positives. So you hear him talk about digitalization. He is responsible for the digitalization of the Ghanaian economy. What about the economic pains that Ghanaians faced? He needs to be able to, and you see, what even hurt him more was going around the country and pretending as if there was nothing economic he wanted to discuss. When in the past, you were known for economic lectures.
There was a finance minister who was doing that.
And now you hear the stories. His spokesperson that is during the primary elections kept pointing at the former finance minister as being the one who was, and that he was not even listening to the cabinet and all that. Look, it's either he frontally deals with the baggage of the Akufo-Addo presidency, and it is clear that Ghanaians have not forgiven the NPP for the economic pain that they went through. If you face that frontally and tell yourself that, just like doing so, President Mahama said, look, I am responsible, I will fix it. Ghanaians, as we all know, can be forgiven. We are not persons that are vindictive. But what we don't like is to be taken for a ride. What we don't like are, if I say this, honest is strong. What we don't like is persons who think that we can be taken for a ride. Okay. He has to demonstrate that, one, he can take responsibility for the decisions that were taken in the NPP, which were painful. Okay. Number two, he must apologize for those decisions. Even Rawlings, at some point, when after everything in the PNDC era, he came to the realization that there were excesses, and he apologized for them. Very well. There is nothing that maybe will suit Ghanaians than for us to get a speech from Dr. Bawumia telling us that, for example, the persons that were killed post-elections, we are sorry for it. The pain that was caused for, for economic hardships that were please, when did he do that? Have you heard him make a speech and say that I, Dr. Bawumia,
you don't seem to want
hold on, so I am responsible. Have you ever heard him take responsibility?
When you were talking about President Mahama, you massage the issues nicely about doing so, and people are forgiving and all that.
You know one thing? I always like, listen, I take responsibility is different from I'm sorry.
Okay, so you want him to say he takes responsibility for it.
I like it when
you see what's happening in London, how they are doing the Labour government.
When you were talking, I didn't interrupt
because
I
kept quiet.
Paul.
Okay, I just asked AI whether Bawumia apologized. Yes. AI says following the New Patriotic Party's loss in 2024, Dr. Bawumia issued multiple public apologies.
You see the word multiple,
and party members, acknowledging governance lapses and economic challenges.
Listen,
I said admission of mistakes.
Hold on.
Specific regrets and all of
that. I say that as a Ghanaian voter, I have not heard President,
even though he's done it multiple times.
I haven't heard Dr. Bawumia come out
after he did it multiple times.
Paul, you have a right to analyze things the way you see it and to advise Dr. Bawumia in the like and the manner that you are doing. For me as an NDC person, for me that is good because it allows us to be able to paint him the way we want to paint. And I'm telling you for free that for long as he is not ready, and I'm telling you that I have not heard him, fine, you can say that he has apologized for what I'm saying, that number one, I want him to take responsibility for the economic mess that the country was in.
Very well.
You understand? To be able to, and not also try to sometimes rationalize this when the fundamentals of the economy are weak. The exchange rate will expose you. Look, be man enough and admit that I said it. And that
he said it was true then, it's true now.
Did you hear his explanation?
Yes.
Did you hear his rationalization for that particular speech?
I did.
Did that amount to admission?
Please, you see, I say as
What is the rationalization that you did? I don't understand.
He was asked.
He explained that he was right there right now.
Play that for them.
You're saying that the fundamentals are not.
Yeah, but he did a comparative analysis.
Tell us that the dynamics of the situation at this time and this time.
Yes.
You think Ghanaians are
That's
fools?
what he said.
But when you stay at home and they pay you,
Lord.
and you take water and you don't pay, and you take the pistol and you don't pay, something that has never happened in the history of Ghana, you ignore that one.
And then you come back later and you tax me for it. We're not silly.
Yeah, but at the time, if they had taxed you at the time, we will die. We all thought that we would die. When in the history of Ghana has any president allowed Ghanaians to stay home and pay them? Sometimes let's put the truth on the table. That's what happened in Ghana. People were asked to stay home and they were paid.
There was a COVID. There's a COVID.
Cocoa farmers you have promised that you can't pay them. Akufo-Addo paid Ghanaians to sit at home and pay them, and you have ignored that.
Listen, Paul, you can continue with this way of whitewashing Bawumia and making it look like Bawumia.
Tell me what I'm saying is not true.
Oh.
The Ghanaians stay at home and get paid.
You see,
the Ghanaians use water and not pay. The Ghanaians use electricity and not pay.
See, you spoke. I disagreed with a lot of the things you said, but I gave you the respect of not interrupting.
When you are done.
It's not fair.
When you are done.
I'm telling you that, I'm saying that. Listen, as your political opponent, it makes a lot of sense for you to sometimes pay attention to some of the things that we say, because this, I think, is free.
Okay.
Dr. Bawumia is not a bad person. You understand? He has been vice president. For whatever it is, he has held the second highest position in this country. He was a heartbeat away from the presidency. You have a duty to what? To bring him back as a presidential candidate and to let him win an election. I am telling you that one of the perceptions out there that you need to kill is the fact that the man does not want to take responsibility for some of the hard decisions that were taken.
Well.
Those decisions were hard.
Thank you,
and they were not pleasant.
Thank
but
you,
you see, what Ghanaians want to see is the fact that this is somebody, when the times are tough and he has taken a decision, he will accept it.
Very well.
And so when someone like President Mahama was hit with doom, so one of the things that the speeches that he gave, which resonated very well with Ghanaians, was the fact that I am responsible for it and I'll fix it.
Ended there. Thank you, Fifi Buafo.
That's not even correct.
It didn't resonate.
That's not correct.
It didn't resonate.
But he came back.
One second, Nipa.
Can we hear Fifi, please?
If you continue the way you are continuing.
I was seated next to you when we were talking.
Let's hear Fifi.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Nipa, John Mahama did not admit that he caused him so. John Mahama is the one who blamed charging of mobile phones as the reason why we're in Dumso. John Mahama is the one who made us stay in Dumso for 5 continuous years. Even John Mahama, who made us stay in Dumso for 5 years, Ghanaians accepted him. John Mahama, whose administration was characterized with corruption, and that was the topic every day we discussed in the media space. Ghanaians accepted him, and he's saying Dr. Bawumia will not be accepted.
Oh no,
John Mahama.
I said there are 2 things. He has a trust deficit. He has a
the one who had a reputation of putting Ghanaians in darkness for 5 years has been accepted.
Because when the issue of Bawumia speaking, I asked AI. I've asked Mahama's issue to AI. 2016 admission. During the 2016 inspection, then President Mahama stated, quote, "We are not out of Dumso yet," while asking for patience as his government worked to fix the erratic power supply.
And he did not solve that.
Online. Okay.
He did not solve that. There's one important point I wish to make before I even proceed.
Yes.
Nick Bako says something. He says for him as an NDC member, he will want to paint Dr. Bawumia in a certain way.
He didn't use those words.
No, he said it.
No, he didn't use it in those words. Maybe if you're implying.
He said that.
Listen to me.
I went here.
Listen to me. I said this, that so long as Dr. Bawumia does not admit to the economic hardships and the measures that were taken by the Nana Addo government, he does not own up to them. there's this brush that will be used to paint him as not being someone who is honest enough to admit to the difficulties of his government.
Thank you for
responsibility for it.
That's a different thing, but then I'll still proceed. They talk about the economy and make it look like, okay, well, because the economy suffered at a point under the NPP administration, so it is practically impossible for Dr. Bawumia to come back. Bear in mind, from 2017 to 2020, we saw the management of the economy in this country. Indeed, Paul referred to it, that we went through COVID and its effect, we suffered. There are people who suggest that, well, as if because COVID came and went away, so all the problems that came out of COVID also evaporated because COVID left. No, it did not. We had to pay for it. George Jackson was talking about haircuts. That was about 700,000 people. Today, about 1 million cocoa farmers and more have received haircuts. And we are not even out yet. And this is just 1 year of the NDC administration. What is the cost of your electricity today? What is the cost of your water bill today? We are almost paying double how much we are paying for electricity. And we are just 1 year under the NDC administration. This whole smoke screen of economy doing so well, it will wipe off in a very short time. Okay. Already, go on social media. Haven't you seen people talking about? Oh, allow him.
You don't see the rules. Learn from me, Fifi. Learn from me.
Relax.
I think the last.
So you are saying that the smoke screen will be clear.
Oh, very soon.
Okay.
Very soon, because already people have started complaining about cost of things.
Very well.
And I am telling you that electricity, even government agencies, they talk about inflation being 3%. Inflation is 3%, but state institutions are actually increasing their costs by over 100%. NIA has increased its cost over 100%, and they say that inflation is 3%.
Fifi, end for me. Let me do the final round of discussion. We're talking about Baba Jamal's election and how NDC handled it in Ayawaso. Is vote buying corruption? Is that what it is? Or is just politicians doing what politicians do, but this one was blown out of proportion? Franklin Kujo, the way NDC handled Ayawaso, I've seen you write on social media, you said it was not the proper way. You wanted what to happen?
Well, before I get there, I think I need to make a little small point, and I'll advise to the NPP. Look, nobody should I don't think you should downplay the fact that you were more than the election seriously because of economic mismanagement. I mean, please, be careful. On the other hand, I know that the NPP can actually decorate a rabbit and call it a donkey, and they're very good at that. But please, the voter...
Why are you doing that?
No, it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Okay.
I'm just trying to say that the voter health is very sophisticated. I think the problem with the Bawumia camp is that the communicators around Bawumia are extremely distastefully annoying. And I don't think they realize, apart from telling outright lies, and then calumnizing people that they think they don't agree with, I don't even understand the strategy. And I think if you watch that, the umbilical cord of the Nadu still, looms large. And I think if he continues in that shadow, he'll have problems. I was surprised to hear Bawumia say that if you want the election, you continue the cathedral. I mean, these were things that fed into the whole conversation that said, these guys will just continue the Nadu thing.
Okay.
I think it's very important. I tried getting the Bawumia camp to apologize for SAR. They said it was too risky. They could do it. Well, I thought, well, go ahead. So listen, they have to be careful, and they should be watching Musa Dankwa's posts especially, because those posts are sacrosanct. They should be careful. Look, the NDC. In fact, I was probably not surprised. Somebody said I should not use the word surprised, but I was angry that the NDC would have held an election which we also naked, if you like, naked exchange of votes with money and all those things that we saw, and the swiftness with which they started addressing the issue. Issue a statement, the party stood larger, issued a statement followed by the majority side that they said they should annul the elections. For once, I thought we were going to see the beginning of the end of monetization in the elections, because I was hoping that the next series of actions that we maybe just annulling the elections And for crying out loud, even if they lost that seat, what's the point, really? I mean, they have so many seats anyway.
So it was an anticlimax for you. How the thing ended?
It was exceedingly anticlimax. And if there was any party that could actually change the perception, at least for now, I thought the NDC, with this current NDC, probably would have been the best to do that thing.
Okay.
Kigu is that example. So it is important that politicians, we should move away from saying that politicians are not trusted. There must be some good ones like Fifi, and if Paul decides to get into elections, maybe my good friend Nipapo. Nipapo almost ate down.
Oh, okay, now you and I will have a competition.
Okay, that's an ad hominem attack. I'll let it be. Okay, thank you, Franklin. Paul, the way the NDC dealt with Ayawaso East started. In fact, there are people who commend them for even coming publicly to condemn one of their own, or an election conducted by themselves. You may not be happy with how it ended, but at least there was some semblance of seriousness.
I looked at the whole Ayawaso thing, and I was very interested and also quite concerned about our civil society. And when I say civil society here, I don't mean any particular group like Imani, all those who are civil society actors in Ghana and watching this situation. And I heard our brother Franklin talk about the new current NDC, something like that. And the expectations of civil society was that we have some new kids on the block. And I had been watching that expression during the campaign because I have worked closely with politicians. I know them. And I believe that civil society actors also knows them. And the group of people who were running the campaign, as I said yesterday, were people who had been in government before. We know them. They are a known quantity. But somehow during the campaign we heard, oh, everything has changed. Oh, they have changed. Oh, John Mahama has changed. Oh, everything has changed. And you heard Franklin Kojo say, this current group. What is this current group? What is this current group? These are people we have been working with since 1998. This is it. There's nothing changing. So that's one aspect of it. So when we are going into a by-election, now I'm doing about 3 different strands. This is one. And still on this one, monetization is the second one now. What is monetization? Monetization is placing money on certain things, services, whatever. If you look at the trajectory of our politics from 1992, increasingly, almost everything is being monetized. Increasingly, almost everything. Parliamentary seats are monetized. Scholarship secretariats. When I was a child, people get scholarships and they are celebrated. They get scholarships and they didn't even know that they were being considered for scholarship. You are there and then you get a letter that, oh, they said you got a scholarship. You didn't know you were being considered. And then people celebrate, oh, you got a scholarship. Today, they say, come to scholarship secretariat, buy a scholarship. So everything is being monetized. Even some people complain that civil society work is being monetized by politicians who are paying civil society. So everything is being monetized. So why are we pretending about this monetization and its monetization? Those of us who are having the discussion, the jobs that we do, the things that we occupy, is it the same as it was 20 years ago? Are there more temptations of monetization? Has politics now monetized everything in that context? And then we leave all of that. We leave monetization of media, monetization of civil society, monetization of police promotions, monetization of military promotions,
hospital attendance.
Monetization of hospital attendance. We leave all of this and come and complain about monetization of delegates. What hypocrisy is that?
Are you supporting then?
I'm not. I'm coming to it.
Okay.
I'm coming to it. So you sit in a society where everything is being monetized. We look at it. If it's our area, it's media, oh, don't talk about it. If it's civil society being monetized, oh, don't talk about it. Then we come and say politicians are doing monetization. Okay, leave that. In this country, among political conversations, we have what we call fear delegates. Fear delegates means that monetization actually does not work in the delegates' context. That's what we all say. So why are we worried? We always say fear delegates. Oh, delegates, they'll take your money, they won't vote for you. We have always commended our delegates for voting the right way. In NPP, they say NPP delegates have never made a mistake. It's a saying in NPP. NPP delegates have never made a mistake. So let's not worry. They will never make a mistake. And delegates have been commended for taking somebody's money and teaching him a lesson. So if Baba Jamal is seen to be presenting 32-inch TV, in that context, did the fear delegates thing vanish? Okay, now the last round. The reason why those letters were going nowhere was that those letters were playing into the campaign propaganda that we are a new people. When in fact they are not. Nobody is. We all have to work out this. I'm not saying that, so leave it. I'm not saying leave it. I'm saying let us get to the root of the matter as a society. It's not just about politics. You are monitoring police promotion. People have to pay to move from corporal to sergeant. A policeman who is a corporal must go and pay money somewhere. Soldiers are paying. Scholarship is paying. Everybody is paying. So we are not concerned about that. We wait till one Saturday morning when Baba Jamal goes to share TV, then we all come, politics is being monetized. Civil society is being monetized today. Politicians are paying civil society today.
In fact, the civil society man wants to talk. Frankly, what do you want to say? He said he wants to react to what you've said.
Yes, but you see, Paul,
Yes,
I like your narrative, and I agree with you entirely. But you see, let me just say one thing. Not that I agree that you claim that suicide is wrong. Nobody gives me money. If you give me money, I'll still deal with you anyway. By the way, look.
But you collect.
Hold on. I think what changed in this particular instance is that the letters that were issued, they were stripped, and we've never seen anything like that before. When have you seen the party come out to issue a statement saying that we are concerned about the nature of the elections and that we are angry, and then the majority side also came saying they should annul the elections?
So the optics of it. But he's saying that. So Paul is
actually convinced us.
But Paul is saying that it is nothing new. It's just the whole new NDC thing.
That this is the first time letters have come that way. But if you look at the videos, delegates in Nima came out to threaten Fifi Kwete. Not just threaten him, but they said that, but you, Fifi Kwete, you've paid us money before. They said John Mahama gave them 40 cedis.
Yes.
They said so, that John Mahama gave them 40
but John Mahama himself said that he gave 40 cedis.
Okay, so if John Mahama himself said he gave 40 cedis, the president, the overall, he gave 40 cedis. Yes, he was, but of course, he was in the same situation as the...
There's a difference.
It was for transportation. Let Paul land. Let Paul have 1 minute.
Who in the parliament has not remunerated delegate? I don't like using the word paying. Who in parliament has not remunerated delegate? So when they said that he who has sinned no more should cast the first stone, Fifi Kwete came with another press conference. Now he is unable to cast the first stone, and he's reminding of Osukwachi that the statement that you wrote, you said Baba Jamal was a government appointee. There are other people who are government appointees. This is the general secretary of the party responding on behalf of Baba Jamal. This is the kind of system we are seeing now. Chaos. The government communication minister issues a statement.
There's a difference between the party and the government.
Fair enough,
but the president is a member of the national executive committee of the party.
The general secretary should not be contradicting the government, or that is okay.
No, it's not. It's reminding. It's reminding. They said they are reminding the president that the other.
Fifi Kwete's statement he issued was in conformity with what Osukwachi issued, and was also in conformity with what the parliamentary majority issued. All statements seem to sing the same song, that something terrible had happened and we have to make a decision. It's just the majority group that went further and said that annul the election. They went further. But Fifi Kwete didn't go further. But he clearly identified the things that had happened. Osukwachi did the same. Then at the end of the committee's meeting, Fifi Kwete comes to tell us that, well, because we identified the thing, but there's no time. There's no time for us to correct.
And our constitution doesn't support it too. Okay.
And that our constitution disenables us.
Yes.
Our national constitution, which we created, which we can change. That constitution disenables us.
And also finally, we have all done it before.
And we have all done it before, so it's okay. Let's leave it like that. By the way, fear delegates.
Yes.
So the delegates must have taken, and they probably didn't respond.
Maybe.
So, and this whole thing is also, there's a Musa Dankwa part of it, which is saying that Musa Dankwa's predictions, they don't happen because people paid. Why? Musa Dankwa is experienced enough to know that every election there will be that factor. He is very, very experienced.
Maybe it was excess.
No, but which election in Ghana has not had experience of people
for the whole country? How many delegates were they?
No, but this one, the TV, but this was not the TV under their armpit.
No,
they are. You can't compare that.
Before the TV, they are taking microwave according to them from the lady.
And
they said they are taking microwave. Yes.
Kosiani Meko.
But they are taking also the
Kosiani is actually more than the
motorbikes and pieces of cloth. Let me hear from Nipakbo.
3,000 is actually more than the cost of
the president has come out with a code. You understand? And it is important that the president is seen to be applying the code to his appointees,
including board members.
So let's say that. Let's say that.
So is it the case that the president does not even know who his appointees are?
Hold on. Let's even see. To
suggest that he didn't know the woman was his appointee.
Hold on. Let's even
admit. The president is not know.
Fifi reminded him.
Let's even admit, for argument's sake.
Wow. A president before he issues a letter.
But board member, there are so many board members.
The president before he issues a letter, he must consult.
Fifi.
Because the president has a lot of appointees at his office. What were they doing?
Listen. It is significant that at least
Or he was just going after
the
Baba
president,
Jama
hold on, the
because
president,
he was not his candidate.
the president,
The regional minister who is his appointee
Vivi,
endorsed
I just
vote
want
by
minute,
him,
let me
but the
finish, give you-
president didn't say anything about
Absolutely.
it.
The president didn't say anything.
That's my member of parliament. Don't say evil of her.
Regional minister.
And that's my
She
MP.
said every
He
election
says-
there's a vote by
Yes, but the president said
Well, that's the same thing.
Listen, what the president,
Okay, let's hear.
the posture of the president is for me what is important. That at least let's set the record that
He was
when-
only acting because
Hold
he
on,
didn't like
hold
Baba
on, hold
Jama
on.
to be the
Oh,
candidate.
come on.
Fifi,
That is
Fifi, you are
conjecture.
being disruptive now. I won't give
At
you
least
time.
let's set the standard that when the president has a code of ethics and he is stating that don't do this and you go contrary to it, there are consequences that will happen.
So what happened
and I'm
when
happy
the-
that
when
my
the regional
party,
minister
my
breached
party
the
has
code of
expanded.
conduct?
Hold on, my party has expanded the membership of the committee and now is asking for recommendations on how to root out this problem, including amending the constitution to allow us to annul elections when these things happen. That is a reset.
Okay.
That is a reset.
Very well.
Completely different from people who see the
give me
thing
my
going on and
words.
say that, hey, let this continue. I would have loved that the NPP will say, oh, since NDC has even set up a committee to look at the issue
OSP
of...
says investigating
Oh, hold on,
NPP as well.
hold on. That NDC has set up a committee to deal with something like that. We will even collaborate with them so that all of us, both parties,
You
major
do
parties,
that when
will
the
have...
people are sincere about
Oh,
it.
please.
You only commend
So
it.
we don't-
or
we
you
don't-
only
no,
follow
listen.
suit when there's some level of
The thing is that when we are
The
resetting
president in
the
his own
country,
letter,
they say that it is normal behavior. So they don't even
was
see the need
partial.
to even do something like that.
Let me hear Fifi
It is
explain.
normal behavior for
Thank
them.
you.
We are prepared to change.
I think
Fifi,
that
you don't have 1 minute to
Yeah, I do.
20 seconds.
The president was not sincere
You.
when he set out to issue that statement, because if indeed he was minded, he wouldn't have just singled out Baba Jamal. And if you also look at the statement that was issued by the majority, of course, the members of the majority had even gone there to promise one of the candidates, you're going to be part of us.
We are waiting to
so
see.
they had even taken sides in that contest. So it was not a surprise that they were calling for Baba Jamal to be disqualified, such that their preferred candidate will come out of it. Paul was trying to polish it up for the president to say that, well, he was not aware of it. But of course, the presidency is such a serious office, to the effect that before a letter is issued from the president's office, the assigns at the office will do due diligence to ensure that whether or not the other persons involved were also appointees or not. We talk about Baba Jamal giving out a television set. It's a 32-inch NASCO television set. Indeed, it will not cost you 3,000. Other candidates who are also appointees of the president were paying 3,000, but the president said that was fine. You have the regional minister endorsing bribing of delegates, an illegal act. The president said he did not hear. And if that president come to me and say that, well, I'm punishing somebody or I'm taking an action, you should know very well that he's only acting because, well, as we've been made to understand, Baba Jama was not the system candidate.
End it here.
So you know what? We'll let him suffer for it.
Thank you, Fifi.
Lack of sincerity.
Joe Jackson, I love you so much. I'll give you a bar of cake so that you don't make a comment so that we can end the discussion because my producer says time is up. Thank you so much. This has been The Big Issue. We'll be back next week.